Next, live at 11, a vicious beating leaves a 62-year-old man dead and his wife fighting for life. Why Metro thinks they'll strike again. And one-on-one with the Atlanta man with a dangerous form of tuberculosis. Next.
A deadly crash, the freeway shut down, and tonight Metro is still searching for the hit-and-run driver. Action News live at 11 starts in 30 seconds. Stay tuned.
Age, unsightly skin problems, the elements. When your skin is under attack, you need to fight back. Go to KTNV.com and click on Health Connections for Las Vegas Skin and Cancer Clinics. Choose Nevada's leading dermatologists with the most comprehensive evaluations and greatest number of treatment options. See how combined therapy achieves the maximum results. Trust your looks to expert care. Las Vegas Skin and Cancer Clinics on KTNV.com's Health Connections.
94 degrees right now, a warm evening, but a very pleasant afternoon. Of course, we hit the 100s today officially. Manly Baycam live right there. We'll do it again for tomorrow, and it looks like a few more days, but also a few days of a cool down. We'll have that for you in weather first.
Our top story tonight, 2 drivers connected by a dangerous mistake with a deadly ending. As police search for a killer, others hold out hope for this wreck survivor. That survivor, a young woman, was inside a truck that plunged about 70 feet off the desert in Arterial and onto Interstate 15 at the height of rush hour. It claimed the life of the truck's driver and then launched a valley-wide manhunt for the hit-and-run driver police say is responsible. Tonight, though, the first sign of normal as traffic once again moves safely and smoothly on the northbound lanes of I-15. Action News reporter Steve Ryan is where this tragedy unfolded. Steve?
Christina, traffic started moving again about 2 hours ago, but earlier this afternoon, the I-15 was completely gridlocked and this overpass on Desert Inn shut down. Up against this wall was a wrecked Honda Accord. If you look closely, you can see the lines police drew to trace its path into that wall and the marks it left there. I just spoke with Metro a few minutes ago and they tell me they are still actively searching for the driver of that car. They say he's the man who caused this accident. 9 o'clock, a tow truck leaves the I-15 carrying the remnants of 2 cars involved in a deadly hit-and-run this afternoon. Traffic started moving a few minutes later, but 4 hours earlier, this is what the situation looked like. The Honda Accord had slammed into the Ford pickup.
And then unfortunately, this vehicle then went off the overpass and fell onto Interstate 15.
Metro accident investigator TRACY McDonald says the Honda tried to switch lanes but was driving too fast and clipped the left rear of the F-150, sending the pickup into the overpass wall where it slid for about 100 feet before plunging onto the I-15. The driver of the Honda ran off. Medics pronounced the driver of the pickup dead at the scene. Metro says the passenger, a woman, is extremely lucky to be alive.
She's been transported to UMC Trauma, where she's listed with injuries considered to be serious.
Accident investigators are taking this crash seriously. They say the man who caused the accident faces several charges.
The driver of the Honda Accord will be felony hit-and-run death, felony reckless driving death,
and possible traffic violations, which led to this snarl-up, which lasted more than 5 hours. Police caught a small break in this case about an hour after the accident. A witness called in a description of the suspect. Police say, though, while vague, it could actually help. The man is described as being of Mexican descent, in his mid-20s, wearing white pants. Steve Ryan, Channel 13 Action News.
Steve, what indication have police given you about just the simple increase in these types of wrecks?
Well, Christina, Metro tells me that there have been 81 fatal accidents in their jurisdiction so far this year, and that if numbers continue on that track, they could be well on their way to more than 200 for the year. Christina?
All right, thanks so much. Steve Ryan joining us live. Thanks, Ryan.
And more now on our other big story this evening. Metro is on the hunt right now for 2 men responsible for the brutal beating of an elderly couple. The man was killed. His wife barely survived. Action News reporter Jeff Gradney is live on the scene. And Jeff, why is Metro especially concerned about this case?
Well, 2 reasons, Steve. First, they say because of the awful brutality of it. Second, because police believe it's quite likely that these dangerous criminals may end up targeting others right here in this same neighborhood. News of the vicious attack appalls people living close to where it happened.
It's absolutely insane. I can't believe I'm even hearing anything like that.
Metro detectives tell us Angel Nieva and his wife, both in their 60s, were visiting from California, staying at this timeshare. But their getaway ended in a horrific nightmare. Two men jumped them as they went into the building, but the robbery was the least of it.
The thing that's unusual about this event is the severity of the beating that was given to the victims, who were elderly and couldn't defend themselves to begin with. So why beat them to the point where you're going to kill them?
They beat Nieva to death and put his wife in the hospital. Police say one person, a witness to the sad aftermath of the attack, heard the victim screaming in pain and horror. And he also saw a suspect vehicle, a small green car, speeding away.
I don't like it. I basically feel like they were desperate people out looking for a quick dollar.
And tonight, many neighbors are worried and watching over their shoulders.
Hopefully it's an isolated incident, and they catch the person.
And police say, though this happened 3 days ago, they are so driven to catch these dangerous criminals that they say, according to one homicide detective that I spoke with tonight, they are working overtime on this case. Reporting live, I'm Jeff Gradney, Channel 13 Action News.
Thank you, Jeff. And if you have any information on the murder or the suspects, call Crime Stoppers 385-5555. And as always, you can remain anonymous. A man is lucky to be alive after slamming his truck into a home at Jones and Eldorado. It happened early this morning. The driver was taken to the hospital, but no one inside the house was hurt. No word on what caused that crash.
It took a court threat, but finally a Las Vegas judge has agreed to clean up her act. Facing civil action, Las Vegas judge Elizabeth Halverson agreed to clean up her property. Check it out. As you can see, trash is piled up. In some places, plants are overgrown, and the pool, according to neighbors, is filled with algae. Halverson has agreed to work with county inspectors to clean up the mess. Her attorney, however, blamed Halverson's physical disabilities and dependence on a wheelchair for the problem. Red, White, and Blue 2008 is our commitment to keep you informed about the race for the White House. Senator Barack Obama got a very warm reception today during a stop at Silverado High School in Henderson. The Illinois Democrat took some time to lay out his positions on a number of issues, including health care. He says if elected, he will roll back tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans to pay for a universal health care plan.
We're going to take this country back and make it work for young people and old people and sick people and well people, black people and white people and Asian people and Hispanic people and gay people and straight people. We're going to make an America that works for its people.
Senator Obama also says he is firmly against any proposal to store nuclear waste at Yucca Mountain. It was a different picture, though, 2 months ago. If you recall, Senator Obama and 6 other Democratic presidential hopefuls were actually in Carson City for a health care forum, or rather in town for a health care forum. It was then that he stood out, not for his health care ideas, but rather the lack thereof. He admitted he did not have a plan just yet after a student, a UNLV student, pressed him on the issue.
I went on your website to find some information about you, and all I saw when it came to addressing the healthcare issue was things like HIV, which is very important, and issues like lead poisoning.
Another Democratic presidential hopeful will be in town tomorrow. Former Senator John Edwards is scheduled to meet with the Culinary Workers Union. It'll be his first meeting with culinary members. A little good news tonight for members of the Culinary Union here in the Valley. The union has reached temporary contract extensions with both MGM Mirage and Harrah's. The extensions leave their current contract in place while negotiations continue for a new agreement.
The Department of Public Safety says week 1 of its Click It or Ticket campaign has been a success. Various enforcement agencies here in Southern Nevada partnered with agencies around the nation in an effort to get people to buckle up. The enforcement is helping also punish those guilty for other driving violations. In just the first week, NHP troopers issued 179 citations for seatbelts. Another 705 drivers received speeding tickets, and troopers arrested 31 people on suspicion of driving under the influence. They also handcuffed 4 wanted fugitives. If you're on the Las Vegas Strip, you may see more police officers on patrol than usual. It's all part of Safe Strip 2007. It's actually a Metro Police program designed to protect the 5-mile stretch of Las Vegas Boulevard. Metro's gang unit, bicycle unit, and traffic section will all be on patrol in uniform, but also in plain clothes.
He's called Patient Zero, and tonight health officials are trying to figure out how Andrew Speaker contracted a rare, hard-to-treat strain of tuberculosis. During an interview with Diane Sawyer, Speaker and his wife talked for the first time about it and says that officials told him it was okay for him to travel.
I said, what's changed? When I left, I was told I wasn't a threat to anyone. When I was left, I was told that I wasn't contagious. What's changed? Why are you abandoning me like this and expecting me to turn myself over for an indefinite time? What has changed? And they didn't have an answer to that.
Speaker's wife, whose father is a researcher at the Centers for Disease Control, has tested negative for TB. His wife has a young daughter who has also tested negative.
A touching story tonight about a young boy's fight for his life against a deadly disease. Meet 10-year-old Oscar Bibiano. He has an inoperable brain tumor. He goes to school at MCWILLIAMS Elementary. And tonight, students and teachers from his school, Metro police officers, and members from the community, well, they all held a fundraiser in his honor to help him, but also his family. And they managed to raise $2,000. Metro also says that they plan to give Oscar a ride-along, something he says he has always wanted to do.
Now, Las Vegas's first complete late-night forecast with meteorologist Brian Schofield.
Miami, Fort Lauderdale, getting rain. They haven't seen this in quite a while, not to this level. Look at that. I wonder why. Could it be the start of Atlantic hurricane season? You know, they have a tropical storm that's brewing through the area. They're not concerned about the winds. They're happy to get this rain. But this is a pretty good gully washer out there. Look at that. You can hardly see through. Wow. Take a look locally, and then we'll touch back with the Atlantic hurricane season and take a look at that tropical storm. A desert Doppler all clear, so looking nothing like that, nor will it over the next few days. 100s in the picture. We're not changing that until next week. The good news is computer models adjusting themselves, saying, hey, you know, there's going to be a little cool down, not a significant one, but some cold air out of Alaska is going to make all the difference in the world and put us back into the 90s, which is considered normal this time of year. It's about time to be normal. We were well above normal today. We told you we'd hit 100 today. We did that a little better. Remember, I get the extra points if we do a little better. So 103 today, 75 for the low, and we should see some very similar temperatures like that for tomorrow. Here are your cloud cover right here. Don't really pay attention to the rain. That's going to stay in the Sierra. Down south is what we're going to see, and it's going to be more in the form of some high, thin clouds for tomorrow. But how about that rain? Look at this all throughout Florida, all because of a tropical storm that finally popped out. I mean, we're talking the first day of Atlantic hurricane season, and we're already talking about the second tropical storm. We had a subtropical storm, but this one's Barry, and winds 50 miles an hour. Wind's not a big problem, but those are obviously some very strong winds, and all throughout the southeastern coastline and to the northeast, they should get some more rain. But that 7-day for us stays dry. So we were very busy today talking about triple digits, talking about tropical storm activity. Already in the season is just getting going.
Yeah, it'll get really frightening when we see those triple digits still at 11
You're not worried
o'clock
about this stuff.
No, I try not to.
Yeah, that was an overnight load, were you? Yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay, Brian, you still get cool points. Taking a look at headlines around America right now. After 8 years behind bars, the man many of us came to know as Dr. Death, well, he's free tonight. Dr. Jack KEVORKIAN was convicted of a second-degree murder charge in 1998 for helping a 52-year-old man with Lou Gehrig's disease commit suicide.
The party's over for a 35-year-old Modesto, California woman who admitted to having sex with 2 underage boys during a strip poker party. Anna Walker was taken into immediate custody yesterday to begin serving a 300-day jail sentence.
President Bush continues to challenge lawmakers to pass an immigration reform bill. The president argues the current system is broken, but he also counters criticism that the bill that he's pushing for provides amnesty.
Some bad news on the horizon for thousands of Dell Computer employees. We'll explain why coming up.
And residents of the nation's Gulf Coast are getting prepared for what experts say could be one very, very active hurricane season. You're watching Channel 13 Action News live at 11.
The Weather First Lake Forecast, brought to you by Cal's Boat and RV.
Couple of choices tomorrow. We're in the 90s now. We'll be in the hundreds tomorrow. Stay indoors, stay outdoors. If you're going outdoors, 105 Lake Mead, some cloud cover popping in. Water temperature 71 degrees, Steve.
Thanks, Brian. If you're planning a weekend trip to Southern California, stay clear of Encinitas. An oil spill off the coast forced officials to close a 2.5-mile stretch of the beach. The Coast Guard says the sticky oil started washing up on the sand today. The Atlantic hurricane season officially started today, but as Brian just mentioned, Tropical Storm Barry already churning in the Gulf of Mexico. Federal, state, and local disaster teams are already geared up for the new hurricane season, but they also say coastal residents have a civic duty to have their own emergency plan. The new director of FEMA says it'll just add another layer of preparation so mistakes of the past don't happen again.
Make sure we don't put in place a sequential failure type of system that we've had in the past of waiting for the local community to become overwhelmed before the state steps in, waiting for the state to become overwhelmed before the federal government steps in.
Hurricane experts are predicting 5 major storms during the Atlantic hurricane season, and they say at least one will make landfall in the U.S.
Well, investigators say it may have been weather that played a role in a deadly car accident in West Virginia. Check it out. Police say a tractor-trailer heading westbound on an interstate lost control, jackknifed, and then went across the median into oncoming traffic. That's when another car went underneath the trailer. You just saw that vehicle moments ago. There it is, taking the top of the vehicle off. All 3 people inside that car died at the scene. A police officer in upstate New York feeling the wrath of Mother Nature. He was directing traffic in an intersection when a storm caused the limbs from a nearby tree to fall onto his patrol vehicle. That officer suffered just minor injuries and was taken to a hospital.
Pilot of a twin-engine plane is recovering after crashing in a neighborhood in Chandler, Arizona. The Cessna 340A was apparently having engine trouble when it went down. It's not known if the pilot had just taken off or was getting ready to land when it happened.
Military families in Omaha, Nebraska are on alert after hearing of a new scam aimed directly at them. Someone actually pretending to be with a Red Cross chapter, calling the family, saying that a loved one has been hurt in combat. Then they ask for personal information. Well, the Red Cross says it does not make phone calls about injured service members.
From Contact 13 tonight, a warning from the FDA. The federal government says certain brands of toothpaste that were made in China could contain a poisonous chemical used in antifreeze. The FDA is not aware of anyone being poisoned from the toothpaste, but the ingredient did show up in a shipment at the U.S. border and at 2 unidentified retail stores. Computer giant Dell is planning to cut almost 9,000 jobs and other overhead expenses in hopes of regaining market share from Hewlett-Packard. Dell is also planning to create a presence in retail stores in addition to being a direct seller. If you have a consumer problem, Contact 13 can help. Just give us a call Monday through Friday between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Hotline is 368-2255.
Turning to news that's got everybody talking. Paris Hilton may be headed to jail on Monday for violating her probation, but in true Paris fashion, she wants to look hot. The celebutante has actually ordered a hair and makeup team to her house to meet her at her Hollywood home bright and early Monday, 9 o'clock. Just before she heads off to jail. And Prince fans rejoice. The Purple One is giving away the first single to his upcoming album Planet Earth to mobile phone users. That's right. The song Guitar is available to Verizon wireless phones to customers who actually use the service provider's new VCast Song ID feature.
Maybe we'll hear it as a ringtone before we hear it on the radio.
You never know.
Possible.
I mean, it's Prince. He can do anything he wants.
Researchers in New York are using some new technology to help spot a stroke or heart attack before it happens.
Plus, health officials reveal more information about that nationwide recall a couple months ago involving tainted peanut butter. Kathy Ray has that next in our health report.
Channel 13 Action Weather is brought to you by Consumer Credit Counseling Service. Creditors pressuring for payments? Need relief? Call Consumer Credit Counseling Service at 364-0344 for all your financial counseling needs.
Now from Action News, Kathy Ray's Health Report.
And Kathy Ray is off tonight. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says that it has received more than 200 new reports of sickness from peanut butter tainted with salmonella in just the last 3 months. In fact, nearly 630 illnesses have been reported in 47 states, including Nevada. Producer ConAgra Foods pulled Peter Pan peanut butter off store shelves and issued a recall. Government investigators linked the bacteria outbreak to the Omaha-based companies Peter Pan and Great Value Peanut Butter. Doctors at NYU say they are developing a new tool in the battle against heart disease. Researchers are using a new imaging method to spot dangerous plaque deposits in mice before they cause major medical problems. Doctors say the new technique, however, still needs to be tested in people.
A-Rod and the Yankees invade Beantown. Highlights coming up in Action Sports with Brian Salmon, plus the World Series of Poker. It's not just about making money. We'll be right back.
As little as 1 day a week, just call 800-647-1756 and find out how you can join our Contact 13 Call for Action team.
Weather first, 93 degrees, but the 90s aren't coming back till next week. No, this weekend, enjoy, and I do mean enjoy, the 100s. You'll enjoy.
And finally tonight,
oh my goodness,
this lobster may not have a split personality, but it definitely kind of has a split. It's half brown, half orange, right down the center stripe.
It's like it's interracial. Experts say finding a crusty crustacean like this one is 1 in 50 million. She's really the talk of the town.
And you know what chefs are saying?
What are they saying, Brian?
This one would not be half bad.
She's headed for an aquarium,
Right.
fortunately,
Oh, okay.
and not the dinner table.
That's our news for tonight. Stay with us for Nightline coming up next, followed by Jimmy Kimmel Live with professional comedians.
Our next reports begin at 5 a.m. on Action News this morning. Thank you for watching, and from all of us here at Channel 13, good night.